Continuing with the 13th chapter of The Indian in the Cupboard, Henri is trying to find a wife for Little Bear among the plastic figures at the newsagent's. He had almost despaired when he saw her. She lay face down on the very bottom of the box, half hidden by two cowboys on horses. He pulled her out. She was the same as the others, apparently, except that she wore a red dress. They obviously all came out of the same mold because they were all in the same position, as if walking. If the others were ugly, so would this one be. Without much hope, he set her before Little Bear. He stood staring at her. The shop was getting busy now. At any moment somebody would come up behind him wanting to buy a plastic figure. "Well," said Henri impatiently. For another 5 seconds Little Bear stared. Then without speaking a word he nodded his head. Henri didn't wait for him to change his mind. He scooped him and Boone back into his pocket, and picking up the approved figure, made his way to the counter. "Just this one, please," he said. Mr. Yap was looking at him, a very odd look. "Are you sure you only want the one?" he asked. "Yes." Mr. Yap took the plastic figure, dropped it into a bag, and gave it to Henri. 10 pence. Henri paid and left the store. Suddenly he felt a hand on his shoulder. He spun around. It was Mr. Yap. The look on his face was now not odd at all, but red and angry. "Now you can hand over the two you stole." Henri stood aghast. "I didn't steal any." "Don't add lying to your faults, my lad. I watched you put them in your pocket, a cowboy and an Indian." Henri's mouth hung open. He thought he was going to be sick. "I didn't," he tried to say, but no words came out. "Turn out your pockets." "They're mine," Henri managed to gasp. "A likely story, and I suppose you brought them out to help you choose the new one?" "Yes." "Ha, ha, ha," said Mr. Yap heavily. "Come on, stop playing around. I lose hundreds of pounds worth of stuff a year to you thieving kids. When I do catch one of you red-handed, I'm not likely to let it pass. I know your sort. If I let you off, you'll be boasting to your pals at school how easy it is to get away with it. And most likely you'd come tomorrow for another pocketful." Henri was now fighting back tears. Quite a crowd had collected, much like the crowd in the art room. Some of the same people even, but his feelings were no longer so pleasant. He wished he could die in despair. "It's no good trying to get around me by crying," shouted Mr. Yap. "Give them back right now or I'll call the police." All at once Patrick was beside him. "There he is," he said. "I know there he is, because he showed them to me at school. A cowboy in a white hat and an Indian in a chief's headdress. He told me he was coming to buy a new one. Henri wouldn't steal." Mr. Yap let go of Henri and looked at Patrick. He knew Patrick quite well because it happened that Patrick's brother had once been his paper boy. "Will you vouch for him, then?" "Of course I will," said Patrick staunchly. "I'm telling you, I saw them both this afternoon." But still the shopkeeper wasn't absolutely convinced. "Let's see if they fit your description," he said. Henri, who had been staring at Patrick as at some miraculous deliverer, felt his stomach drop into his shoes once more. But then he had an idea. He reached both hands into his pockets, then held out one hand slowly, still closed, and everyone looked at it, though it was actually empty. The other hand he lifted into his mouth to stifle a cough, as if to stifle a cough, and whispered into it, "Lie still. Don't move. Plastic." Then he put both hands before him and opened them. The men played along beautifully. There they lay, side by side, stiff and stark, as like lifeless plastic figures as could possibly be. In any case, Henri was taking no chances. He gave Mr. Yap just long enough to see that they were dressed as Patrick had said before, closing his fingers again. Mr. Yap grunted. "Those aren't from my shop anyway," he said. "All my Indian chiefs are sitting down, and that sort of cowboy is always on a horse. Well, I'm sorry, lad. You'll have to excuse me, but I must admit it did look suspicious." Henri managed a sickly smile. The crowd was melting away. Mr. Yap shuffled back into the shop. Henri and Patrick were left alone on the pavement. "Thanks," said Henri. It came out as croaky as a frog. "That's okay. Have a toffle." They had one each and walked along side by side. After a while, they gave each other a quick grin. "Let's give them some." They stopped, took the men out, and gave them each some bits of the chocolate. "That's a reward," said Patrick, "for playing dead." Little Bear then naturally demanded to know what it had all been about, and the boys explained as well as they could. Little Bear was quite intrigued. "Man, think Henri steal Little Bear?" Yes. And Boone? Omri nodded. Omri fool to steal Boone, roared Little Bear, laughing. Boone, stuffing himself with chocolate, gave him a dirty look. Where woman? Little Bear asked eagerly. I've got her. When make real? Tonight. Patrick gave him a look of pure longing, but he didn't say anything. They walked along again. They were getting near Omri's house. Omri was thinking. After a while he said, Patrick, what about you staying the night? Patrick's face lit up like a bulb. Could I, and see? Yes. Wow, thanks! They ran the rest of the way home. And that is the end of chapter 13.